This is an in-depth review of the Technic Porsche 911 RSR from 2019 that comes with the standard factory livery from 2018. What this means is that apart from looking at the parts, the model with and without stickers, and of course its functions, I will take it a step up when studying the details. I'm going to look at how realistic is the engine, the suspension, the proportions, and so on. There has been a lot of criticism of this set with the functions, stickers, and proportions in particular, and I will address all of these points in detail. Let's get started. This box is just a plain box, not much fun with that. Inside of that you will find unnumbered poly bags. So you have to open them all up at the same time and start building. I recommend keeping the parts from one poly bag grouped together and not sorting the parts out, because you're just wasting your time. The parts have already been sorted very well with colors and sizes, so the parts should be easy to find. So just spend a moment finding out where are the parts and then get started. The instructions booklet is very big. See here. We have course the book, but also 2 sticker sheets, and remarkably we have one of the stickers just being almost completely white, just a big piece, but we're going to see why they have chosen this direction. Instructions booklet, we have 280 some pages, and what you just get is this. You get that's apparently an app, that's great. These are the functions, 2 pages of functions, and then you get this, which is very brave of Lego to put the real car and the Lego model up next to each other, so you can really see where they had to take some liberties with the proportions, and we're going to go into detail with those. I call out, and that is it. Okay, let's get started. Before we start building, just have to take a look at the rare and unique parts. Of course, these mudguards, wheel wells are unique to the set because of the print, and they are 4 different ones. So if you want to build anything but the Porsche 911 RSR, then you're not going to have much fun with these wheel wells because of these prints. And they currently do not come in just white without the prints. Others have seen the printing has been pretty bad, but I can see from the copy I have here, the prints look immaculate. Let's continue to the black parts. 6 sets with these rims, 6 sets with the pair of these panel 13 and 14 in black, 6 sets with these front wheel hub. These are the curved version of the Technic panel, and it also comes in 6 sets. These, you get 2 of those, and if you want them in black, then there's only 3 sets for them. These small ones, a pin holder and a cross axle, are unique to this set if you want them in black. The same if you want these in white. So we have the pinhole and the pin down there. You get 42 of them in this set, and they are unique to the set. The canopies here are heavily criticized because they don't look that great in this set, but they are also pretty rare. You get them in 5 sets, and if you want them in yellow because you are a big fan of the Porsche from 2017 where it had yellow headlights, then there's only 1 set. The City of Atlantis set from 2011. Pin with 2 balls in red. Guess what? Unique to the set, and you get 6 of them. And then we have the flex axles in white. Okay, this is not very rare. It comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 sets. Soft axle 7 in white. Comes in 2 sets. This and the Radical from 2018. These panels are just like the black ones, but in white. And if you want them in white, then you can only get them in this set. They are unique to this set. And finally, we have these panels I want to highlight because they shouldn't really be unique, right? And they are not. So they are in 2 sets. Okay, that's it for the parts. Let's start building. I just want to pause because this is where we have the interesting things of the frame. We have in the back an open diff. I have never seen Lego make anything but open diffs for their cars. In earlier years they even had solid diffs, but this is perfectly fine, even though the real car of course has a limited slip differential. Then we have the suspension. It is not connected in the back yet, but it is in the front. So the suspension in this car is very similar to what you saw in the rally car of previous year. In the back we have a single piston, and we also have that in the front, which is quite realistic because that is what you see in the real race car. However, it is connected to the upper control arm instead of the lower one, and that is for packaging reasons, because you can see the axle connecting the wheel is going in where the damper should be. And in the real car you can see they are really close to each other. In the front it is a bit more realistic because we don't have any drive shaft. So here we are connected to the lower control arm, which is realistic. The steering is rack and pinion in the middle, you can see here, which is also what you have in the real car. Lego has made a lot of sets where it's not rack and pinion, but instead it's just an arm that tilts, which gives you a lot of slack in the system. But it seems to work perfectly fine here. So we have suspension and we have steering in the front. Page 66, and we have the infamous engine put into the car, or at least the frame of it. It has 6 cylinders, which is correct. The layout, 180 degrees between the cylinder banks, also correct. But it is not a boxer engine, and that is because the conrods here, those going from the crankshaft to the pistons, are sharing the crank pins in pairs. So we have a pair here, and a pair here, which means that when you're rotating this, the pistons move together, so they go like this. In a real boxer engine they would go opposite, so they would go like this. And that is achieved by having each of these conrods have its own crank pin. But because of packaging issues with Lego, you can't really do that. The best I've seen are people who are using more space, so each cylinder becomes 3 wide instead of 2, but then we have packaging issues again, right? Because there's not so much space in this little model. We have the compartment, the seats right here, and rear axle here. The engine is supposed to be midship, so in front of the rear axle. It's a bit closer to the rear axle in the real car, and we have a very small gearbox, 6-speed sequential gearbox. There's no gearbox in this Lego model, which is a bit of a shame. For the price point, I guess that just had to go. We have now connected the single seat. It is a bucket seat with ears to protect the neck of the driver, and the steering wheel, which has a 2x2 tire, which is going to have a sticker. It doesn't have one right now because I'm going to build the complete car without stickers first. And it is connected using universal joints to the steering. And as you can see, it only turns half a turn, roughly 180 degrees from end to end. That is very little, but it is also quite realistic. In racing cars, you do not turn much on the steering wheel in order to get full steering output on the wheels. The height has been criticized a lot in this model because this is very low. So when we finish the rest of the car, it's very difficult to get in here. But both the seat and the steering wheel are supposed to be this low in the real race car, so that is actually quite realistic. The car is completed and we are starting off with a surprise. No, the surprise is not that the car is upside down, but rather that we have these underneath, right next to the rear wheels. So this little construction in the middle of the back is there to prevent, I can only guess, right, but I think it's there to prevent the car from bottoming out and making sure that the rear wheels are not hitting the rear wheel wells, because if you're pushing it down here in the middle, you can hear that it scrapes to the floor. But if I just push it here, then I hit the wheel with the wheel well, so that's pretty odd. Otherwise, good suspension in the back if you ignore that little detail, and the same in the front. Although here we're actually scraping with the front lip, so you shouldn't do this either. So this is more like push it both in back and front at the same time. The car is fairly nicely decorated. We have the black part, the red stripe, the grey stripe is missing. The colors are going through on the printed parts, of course. But then when you see the middle, then we are really lacking, because then we only have white parts. We don't have the stripes that are so nice in this normal livery, where you would have the black, red and grey as normal stripes here, but yeah, they are completely absent because they're supposed to come here by stickers. In the back you have the big diffuser, again without stickers right now, in order to show where we have this fire resistant material that they put on top of it. It looks perfectly fine even without stickers. It actually has the lines in the back. As you can see here from the top, you have the grey crossing over the rear window and also the red line. Now I'm going to put the stickers onto the model, and then we really can see all the details and how the designers intended this model to look like. The stickers have been applied, so here the car is finished in all of its glory. And now it's going to be exciting, because now we're going to look at all of the details. But I don't just want to point out the details, I want to compare with both the Miniland scale version of the same car and even the Speed Champions version. And first up, we are going to measure the length, width, wheelbase, front and rear overhang and so on, and compare them between the three models, because the results are going to surprise you. Every measure between the real car and the Lego model that is within 10% off is colored in green. Everything else is orange and red. If something is red, it means that it is the worst offender of the three, otherwise it is orange. For the lengths, you can see that they are all within 1%. And that is because I used the length of the Technic model and the Speed Champions model in order to determine the scales of 1 to 9.3 and 1 to 33. Moving on, I had expected the wheelbase of the Technic model to be more off than it is, but it is only 5.37% too short. Moving down to the front overhang, you can see the reason why the front wheels of the Technic model look to be off lengthwise is because of the front overhang. You can see it's almost 22% too long in the front of the Technic model, and that is compensated in the rear, where we are more than 10% too short. This makes the front wheels be pushed too much back into the cabin, while the rear wheels are also pushed back, but not as much. The other two models are all within 10%, so they are green and fine for the lengths. When we look at the width at the front and rear axle, you can see the Technic model is almost 10% too slim, and the Speed Champions is even slimmer. The width of the cabin, you have more than 13% on the Technic model and almost 30% too slim on the Speed Champions model, while the Miniland model is pretty much on point. Moving on to the height, you can see the Technic model is almost on point here, where the Miniland model is a bit too tall, and the Speed Champions model is surprisingly not that much too tall. And that surprises me, because it is such a small model that actually fits a minifig inside. Finally, we have the rims and tires. The rims are typically too big on the Lego models, but if you look at the outer diameter of the tires, then both the Technic model and Miniland model are on point, while the tiny Speed Champions model has a bit too big tires. This is surprising because in a lot of reviews of the Technic Porsche, they would have told you that you should put bigger rims on it. And as you can see here, that is not necessary. The problem is really with the wheel arches, they are too big. And we are going to take all of the details from the front to the back of the car, and I'm trying to give you as much insight as I possibly can. If I get anything wrong, then remember to downvote and comment below. But let's take it from the front. So we start with the splitter. The front splitter is very big and rounded, which is exactly what it should be. I think the curvature could have been smaller, but I really like the use of this part. You can also see it on the Miniland model, it's big and rounded, and so on the Speed Champions model, the same. Next up we have the dive planes. And dive planes are those that you see here. If you look at the box art, it almost looks like they are not stickers and really sticking out, but you can see here they're just a sticker. It looks nice from some angles. I did not include them on the Miniland model, and it's not included on the Speed Champions model either. But I do try to include them whenever possible, so you can see the Ford GT here has them. Moving up the nose, you can see part of the livery is this red angular line. The grey angular line that should have been here is completely missing. And this is this grey angular line right here, and it's even present on the Speed Champions model. Then we have the dreaded canopies for headlights. I don't really know what LEGO could have done, because I do not see a single part in the collection of LEGO parts that would have been working better than the canopies. If you are in scale 1 to 20, then these 2x2 carpet runners, as they are called, work perfectly, even though they should not be perfectly round. They should be a bit oval. On the Speed Champions model, they're just stickers, so they can get the exact shape correct. Inside of the headlights, you can see we have these 4 LEDs. They are able to turn a bit, which I've seen in a display model it was crooked. They are indicated here in the 4 corners. I would like to have seen them with more distance between them in order to look more like the real model. You can see it's done perfectly on the Speed Champions model. And because you get them as the studs in the Miniland model, that also works. Other commenters have said the car should have had yellow canopies, but it's clearly the 2018 version. And from 2018 and onwards, the GT cars have clear headlights, while 2017 and before, they were yellow. A detail I would have liked to see on the Technic model was if we could remove this front panel and reveal a fuel tank underneath. But we can't do that here, and we can't do it on the other models either. What we do have here is the fuel intake. Here it's just a sticker. On the Miniland model, it's a carefully crafted part, and it's completely missing on the Speed Champions model. You can see there are other stickers on the real model showing the emergency cutoffs and stuff like that, which is very nice that LEGO has included those tiny details. Also included is a cutout for the little hatch that would be taken out for moving the fuel intake to the other side. Depending on if you're running with WEC, as this Miniland model is having the livery for, or IMSA, which closely resembles the livery on the Technic Porsche, then the fuel intakes would be either on the right side or the left side. And it really depends on where do they have the fueling system on the racetrack. Funny enough, you could see in WEC where you have typically the fuel intakes on the right side of the car. Ford was still running with it on the left side, so they had a special setup that allowed that to work. Moving on to the wheels. Center lock nut in the middle so that it's easy to replace the wheels in pit stops is realistic. The rims are also looking pretty realistic. They're just a bit more realistic on the Speed Champions model, and luckily there is a design on the Miniland model that also closely resembles what the wheel rims are looking like. So unlike other reviewers, I would say that the wheels and rims are actually perfectly fine on the Technic model. Moving underneath, we have double wishbone front suspension with a single spring in the middle connecting to the lower arm, which is exactly how it is in the real car. Neither the Speed Champions nor the Miniland model have working front suspension nor steering. If we check out how the steering is actually working on the Technic model, then there has been a lot of criticism because it is not so easy to steer it. I find this position of steering it works relatively okay, but I can definitely see that it is not optimal. It is not really a model that you would give to a kid for them to play with. It is more of a display model. And just to finish off with the wheels, double wishbone suspension in the back, perfectly okay, because that is also what you see in the real car. The tire can hit a piece of the bodywork inside, but it doesn't really do so when you're driving around, so that works fine. The wheel covers are, as you saw before, too big on the Technic model, and that also means that the lines are actually flowing a bit incorrectly. On the real car, they would go up here and cross over the headlights a bit earlier than what you can see here, because we are a bit off with the scale. It is more accurately portrayed on the Miniland model, also with a smaller size. The lines are not present on the Speed Champions model. Only the Technic model has a windscreen wiper, but it doesn't work correctly. Instead of wiping the windscreen, it moves like this. And talking about the windscreen, the shape of the windscreen on the Technic model is absolutely perfect. Of course, the window is not there, which is a bit of a shame. The windscreen is brick built in the Miniland model, Porsche on top, as it should be. It's a shame that they don't come with transparent pieces in that many different shapes. The Speed Champions model, again, Porsche logo on top, perfect. It's different colors because we are with the 2017 livery. And the shape is, well, as good as it gets in Speed Champions, because we don't really have that many windows to work with. But at least it's transparent. I already mentioned that the seat and steering wheel are absolutely perfect. You can see that both have received stickers now. We have a Porsche sticker for the seat, and we have all the buttons and so on the steering wheel. And here you can also see that we have instruments inside of the car. The old instrument cluster is blacked out, just like in the real race car, because these other ones are taking over. And this is actually realistic, because now you have position indicators with graphics showing where the other cars are around you. So that's a very nice detail for that sticker. The buttons and so on in the other stickers are correctly laid out, for all I can see. This air condition hose blowing in two places. There are actually air conditioning in those race cars because they are endurance race cars, so that is a really nifty detail. Moving on to the other side, the door opens here because both doors should be able to open because they are emergency exits. Inside we have fire extinguisher, and we have these electronics components that during pit stops you would see a technician go in and work with. It's nice with some stickers here in order to show what's going on, and for what it is, I think this is perfectly adequate. One tiny little detail I find is really nice is how this is not stuck on the car if you're buying it from Porsche, but you can put a sticker here with some track information, and they have done so. That is really nice attention to detail. And speaking of interior, there are of course some details that are missing out in this Technic car compared to other big Technic cars, such as the paddle shifters that you see here in the Chiron, because we don't have a gearbox in the Porsche, but also other small details such as the brake, both discs and pads are present in the Chiron, but not at all in the Porsche. Moving on to the doors, we have stickers showing the lines of the livery and also the Porsche design sticker here. The doors open, the door handle doesn't do anything, and unfortunately there's nothing to lock the door in, so it doesn't really close correctly. Again, just to compare with the Chiron, on the Chiron you had doors that actually close in and stay in place. I don't know why they couldn't do something similar on the Porsche. The mirrors, they are with stickers, they shouldn't be turning like this, and they look fairly okay, but they are hinged incorrectly. They're just placed on top of this Technic part right here. Really, they should have been hinged from the outside, such as you can see here on the Miniland model, hinged from the outside like this. Moving to the roof, there are two antennas up here. The first one should really have had a forward bend as you can see on the Miniland model. It has this forward bend, but they chose not to add that detail. Instead, they have a sticker indicating that you have the emergency hatch on top, which is a really nice detail. Another nice little detail are the lifting bushes, only indicated with a sticker, but they are there. I mean, at least they remembered them. These are the ones that are used whenever you are stuck in the gravel and a crane truck would come and pick you up and put you back on track. I also like how the Technic model has a curved roofline, just like the real car. This is absolutely perfectly proportioned. It looks amazing. It's really well done. A little bit back here is a funny part. I don't know what it is, this little rounded thing, but it's in some cars it's blue, in other Porsches it's red, and in some it's even yellow. I have included it on the Miniland model, where it's yellow on the WEC trim for the number 94 car from 2018. I don't know what it is, so if you know, then please comment in the comments below. The intake just in front of the rear wheel is here and even highlighted with a sticker right there. It is also present on the other models here, just brick built, and even on the Speed Champions car it is brick built. So that is an important detail and is always present. Moving to the rear window, or where the rear window would have been on a real normal car. We have air ducts and we have vents, but they are just stickers. This part opens in order to show you the Boxer engine, but that is actually not how a real Porsche RSR opens, because it doesn't really open. What you do is you take off all of the bodywork here with just the rear lights in place, and then you can take this part off here, but it is not hinged in top as you see in the Technic model. In the Miniland model we have the air duct and the grills brick built, while the Speed Champions model has stickers, but the details are there. As you saw even before the stickers were applied, we have actually both the red and the grey line in the back going across the body of the car. They have been complemented with 3 stickers on each side in order to show the red lines on of the livery, and they look the part. On the Miniland model they are also present, brick builds, and on the Speed Champions model you have the red line and stickers to indicate where they should be on the sides, so it's okay. The rear wing is big and beautiful. It is mounted on swan necks, but it is incorrectly mounted because it's supposed to be mounted from above. I guess for structural reasons LEGO didn't do it on the Technic model, neither on the Speed Champions model, and I tried to indicate it on the Miniland model by having the wing being mounted on these curved slopes like this. I have removed the rear wings in order to show you this winglet. It is present here on the Technic model, also on the Miniland model, but I like the implementation the best on the Speed Champions model because it just looks absolutely perfect with this part they have used here. The Technic model takes it a step up by having not only the rain lights here, this one comes on and blinks when it's raining, but also the little sticker indicating the rear view monitor. All GTE cars are required to have this rear view monitor, and they remembered it on the Technic model. That's very nice. Other stickers showing how a RSR looks from behind, also present on the Speed Champions model and not on the Miniland model. Other details I want to point out in the back are the rear lights, the exhaust, the tow hook and the diffuser. The rear lights on the real car are quite thin, so LEGO has, as faithfully as I suppose they can, recreated them right here. I am a bit saddened that they're not using a red cross axle to hold the rear lights, because that would have been really nice. It comes in length of 3, and even though that's not currently on the list of active parts, they could have used the cross axle too and still make it work. I think that would have looked better. As you can see, the rear lights were quite important in the Miniland model, and although they have the wrong color, at least they are present with transparent parts in the Speed Champions car. The exhaust is in the middle. You can see in the Speed Champions it's actually on the sides. So it would have been right here in the Technic model had they gone with that design. But Porsche changed the design of the exhaust placement in the 2017 season. They moved it from the sides to the middle, so it is correctly placed on the Technic model, since it represents the car from 2018 and forward. This car is also from 2018 season, so it's correct that it has exhaust in the middle. We have a tow hook here on the Miniland model, which we don't have on the other cars, unfortunately. But we do have the diffusers, so all cars have diffusers. And it is very big and majestic on the Technic model. Not only is it correctly proportioned with the tall section in the middle and the lower sections toward the sides, it even has stickers indicating that on top of the diffuser we have this fire retardant material. Miniland model also has the diffuser, although it doesn't have the stickers on top, but I tried to only have a minimum of stickers on that car. In the small car they have made a different color for the diffuser. It looks the part. For such a small car, it's definitely good enough. And that is it for all of the technical and nerdy details of this Lego model. This video has gone on for quite a while with just those details, and when you think about it like that, this model here is really quite something. It is of course lacking in functionality. The steering doesn't work that well. The suspension works okay, but it scrapes. But if you just look at the aesthetics, it's definitely looking the part. There's only some minor hiccups, such as the headlights, but I don't know how to make them any better than what you see here. The proportions of the front and rear overhang. Again, it's difficult to make it better if you want this headlight to work like this. So I fully understand that Lego has taken this approach. The functionality is very limited for what you get. I would have liked some things like perhaps the windscreen wiper turning the correct way, or having air jacks to hide into the car so that you could change the wheels easily, just as when it goes to a pit stop during the race. I guess for the price point, this is what you can get. It has a lot of good parts. It has a lot of parts. It doesn't take too long to build. It's annoying to add so many stickers, but it is a beautiful display model. If I had the space, I would definitely display it here at home. Since it's white, it's not going to be happy to stand in your windows, so it should be standing somewhere where it doesn't have direct sunlight. The white stickers are a bit more white than the Lego parts. Lego has or is able to color match different materials, so I don't know why they're not matching their stickers with the other parts. I mean, this is ABS. This is not ABS. This is definitely not ABS, but still all these parts are color matched for the white. Why can't they do it for the stickers? I don't know why, it's beyond me. But my final verdict of this model is definitely that it is a must-have for any WEC or IMSA race car fanatics, or if you really like Porsche. It looks the part. It is a nice model. And those are my final thoughts on this car. Now, what's going to happen in the future is that I'm going to not display it, I'm going to disassemble it and see if I can make a B model out of it, because Lego doesn't provide a B model. With these parts, with these colors, it would be nice to see if I can make more of a prototype race car out of these parts, but I don't even know if I can do that yet. I haven't really seen if it's possible, but it would be fun to see if the 919 could be made out of the parts from just this set. Until next time, have fun, and I hope that you like and subscribe, because that would help my channel. See you next time.